You have been chosen.
Alright, Clifford Bey, back at it. Now this video is going to be on how to, well, not how to, but it's going to help you understand how the income tax laws do not apply to you or do not apply to the Union States, alright? Income tax laws do not apply to Union State citizens or U.S. nationals, non-citizen U.S. nationals or Union State citizens, alright? So hopefully you watch my video on how to maintain your sovereignty to get a better understanding of what I'm about to say, all right? So Title 26, United States Code, Section 7701, definitions. You should already know you're not a person, right? Because it doesn't include a natural person or a human being, right? We are not considered individuals, all right? Especially not under this title. Maybe under Title 1, Section 1, Title 1, United States Code, Section 8. That's when you could apply yourself as an individual. But other than that, we are not individuals. All right? So we already defined United States in my other videos, right? It only includes the District of Columbia, which is the federal government. All right? So this is its jurisdiction, right? It doesn't include the Union States. The term state is not defined or doesn't include the Union States, all right? That's what you need to understand, all right? So now let's check and see if you're an employee. Let's see if you make wages, matter of fact, hold on. All right, so for the purpose of this chapter, the term wages means all remunerations other than fees paid to a public official for services performed by an employee for his employer. We could stop right there, right? So wages, in order to make wages, you got to be performing service for your employer, right? That's what makes you an employee, right? All remunerations for services performed by an employee for his employer, right? Now let's see let's define employee. For the purpose of this chapter, the term employee includes an officer, employee, or elected official of the United States, a state, or any political subdivision thereof, or the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of any one or more of the foregoing. The term employee also includes an officer of a corporation. All right. So, with that being said, in order to be an employee, right, you got to be within this United States or the state, and we already defined what that the United States or state means. It only includes the District of Columbia, which is the federal government. This state right here, or this United States, doesn't include the Union States, right? Because it got a capital S and not a lowercase s. Lowercase s is of a foreign state, which is what the Union States are a part of, and the capital S is of the district states created under Article 4, Section 3, Clause 2. All right? That's what you need to understand. So, an employer means the person for whom an individual performs or perform any service of whatever nature as the employee of such person, right? So, in order to have an employer, you must be an employee. So if you're not an employee, that means you ain't got an employer. All right. Let's go to the regulation to get some clarification. All right. Regulation. All right. The term employee includes every individual performing services if the relationship between him and the person for whom he performs such services is the legal relationship of employer and employee. The term includes officers and employees, whether elected or appointed, right? So you got to be elected or appointed to be an employee of the United States, a state, territory, Puerto Rico, or any political subdivision thereof, right? Or the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of any one or more of the foregoing, right? So right here it says, right, we already know the United States or a state, right, is the District of Columbia, which is the federal government, and then context clues will tell you whether elected or appointed, right? So you got this is it right here. So in order to be an employee, you gotta be elected or appointed of the United States to state its territory, Puerto Rico, or any political subdivision thereof. The District of Columbia is the United States, right? The district, or any agency or instrumentality of any one or more of the foregoing. All right. So I hope you understand that. All right. So let's go to employer. Right. The term employer means any person for whom an individual performs or perform any service or whatsoever nature as the employee of such person. All right. So we already got that. Right. So in order to have an employer, you must be an employee. But since you're not an employee, you ain't got an employer. All right. There's no relationship there. So this is what you need to understand, right? As long as you understand this, you'll be all right. You'll be able to write your letters stating that you're not an employee, you don't have an employer, right? If the IRS, or you could maybe if you find a way, you could sue the IRS for operating under the color of law using connotative language, right? But that's through the your allegedly employer they doing it. So you might have to go through your employer as well. Or you could just not claim yourself as a taxpayer. You know, the federal tax the federal government won't come after you if you stop claiming taxes, right? Only if you file taxes, you know, they'll come after you because now when you file taxes on a 1040, you're declaring yourself a taxpayer. So that's fraud. If you're not a taxpayer and you're declaring yourself a taxpayer, right? That's fraud right there. So you got to watch out with that. So if you gonna claim exempt, right? Which we all have the authority to do. Claim exempt on a W-4 because a lot of us is forced to fill out W-4s, so we can claim exempt. We just can't fill out taxes. But the state and the Social Security Department is still taking out taxes, so we got to find a way, right? Through a letter, let them know that listen, these laws don't apply to us. Right? So you gotta do more research. I'm just here to show you how these tax laws don't apply to the union states, right? I'm not saying it don't apply to uh, federal employees, right? Or maybe state employees as well, because state employees are part of the government. However, if you're a private citizen, I know for sure it definitely don't apply to you. All right? You're of the union state, or whether you're a non-citizen, United States national, whatever you are. It's your choice. You have a choice to be what you want to be. Hey, you even got a choice to be a United States citizen. They'll be happy to take your money. Shit. All right, continuing. So hopefully you understand the rules of construction within these definitions. All right. Now let's move on. Uh, so if the IRS ever try to come after you, right, and they write a letter to you, all you gotta do is let them know to comply with this section right here, right? Verification of returns. And here's what it says. Except as otherwise provided by the Secretary, any return, declaration, statement, or other document required to be made under any provision of the Internal Revenue laws or regulations shall contain or be verified by a written declaration that it is made under the penalties of perjury. All IRS letters is missing this verification right here. So all you gotta do is send a verification back to them and write a letter saying, please comply with section such and such, such, and then I will be happy to comply with your laws. And then you can also put some other stuff in the letter. You know, you could state what you're not. And if they say, you're wrong, or if they try to refute your answer, guess what? Tell them to any answer they give, comply with this section right here. Of course, you got to comply with this section too. Everything you say got to be made under the penalties of perjury, but that's okay. The law is on your side. All right. So let's continue. Income, right? We gotta see if we make income. Gross income means all income for whatever source derived, unless excluded by law, right? Right. This is the regulation right here. And then you go to 26 USC section 61. Then you get the actual legislative law. This is the executive law, and you get the legislative law of 26 USC section 61. All right, and let me show you right now. Might as well give you a visual. Why not? 26 USC 61. All right, gross income defined. Now the only thing about this is it don't actually explain it as much as it don't explain it like it does in a regulation. It only gives what's included in the gross income. But I like to see that unless excluded by law. That's very important when you cite that, right? So gross income means all income from whatever source is derived unless excluded by law, right? So when it says unless excluded by law, right, it's saying anything that's excluded by law is really not income. Because if it's not in the gross income, right, which means all income, then it's not considered income. All right? I hope that makes sense. All right, moving forward. So that's something to remember, right? You're not an employee, you don't have an employer, and you don't make income. Well, I'm about to prove right now you don't make income. All right? And if they ever write you a letter, right, please tell them to comply with the law. All right? Which they're never going to do. All right, let's continue. So, what else about to do? Definitions, right? Let's go back to definitions. And we're going to go over a few definitions, right? Trade or business. The term trade or business includes the performance of the functions of a public office. See? So, I mean, that's not you think just because you're working under a corporation, you're in a trade or business, or you employ a couple people, now you operate a trade or business. Now, this is what trade or business means. So within the meaning of this section right here, you're not operating under a trade or business, all right? And that's what you got to put in your letters too, right? You got to express yourself, First Amendment, all right? Use the law and express yourself, all right? United States person, we already know what United States means. We already know what person means, right? Well, it gives the definition right here too: a citizen or a resident of the United States. But the United States only includes the District of Columbia, and we are not citizens of the federal government. All right, the District of Columbia is not a state. per O'Donoghue versus the United States. So therefore, there's no states. So how can we be citizens? All right. All right. So this is the point one. Foreign estate, right? The term foreign estate means an estate, the income of which from sources without the United States, which is not effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States, right? Is not includable in the gross income. So it's excluded by law, right? The income of a foreign estate is excluded from gross income, which makes foreign estate income excluded by law, right? Because we are not a part of the United States and we are not effectively connected with the conduct of a trade or business within the United States, right? We don't have a public office within the District of Columbia, all right? That's what you need to know. And please express yourself. If you ever decide to write a letter, express yourself. If they write a letter saying that you committed some type of crime, blah blah blah, express yourself. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna guide you to the law within this video and show you all the angles you can come at them with. All right. All right. So now you know you of a foreign estate, right, which is not effectively connected with the conduct or trade of a business within the United States. Right. All right. Let's continue. All right. So now let's go to crimes. Let's go subpart A. All right. So they coming at you, right? And they coming at you. They talking about you committed crimes, right? So here's all the crimes you could possibly commit, right? Nope, not here. Here's all the crimes you could possibly commit: attempt to evade or defeat taxes, willful failure to collect or pay overtax, willful failure to file return, supply information or pay tax, fraudulent statement or failure to make statement to an employee, fraudulent withholding exemption certificate or failure to supply information, fraud and false statements, right? Fraudulent returns, statements, or other documents, offense related to stamps, unauthorized use or sale of stamps, failure to obey summons, false statements to purchasers or lessees relating to tax, attempts to interfere with administration of internal revenue laws, unauthorized disclosure of information, unauthorized inspection of returns or return information, offenses by officers and employees of the United States, offenses with respect to the collected taxes, disclosure or use of information by preparers of returns, prohibition on executive branch influence over taxpayer audits and other investigations, right? So now let's go over these one by one. Any person. All right, so we got to define person, right? Who willfully attempts in any manner to evade or defeat. Anyway, I ain't gonna read all that. We got to define person because this applies to the person here, right? So let's define person. Let's define person everywhere within the tax laws, right? So we found the person here, 7343, right? Definition of term person. The term person, as used in this chapter, includes an officer or an employee of a corporation or a member or an employee of a partnership who, as such officer, employee, or member, is under a duty to perform the act in respect of which the violation occurs. We already know what employee means, though, right? So you got to be an employee or officer of a corporation. Which, if you trying to get out of income, well, not get out, trying to enforce your rights pursuant to the withholding allowance forms, right? As a Union State citizen, right, or a non-citizen U.S. national, yeah, you're not an employee. So this section don't apply to you. The term person and this section don't apply to you if you're an employee, right? Because we already know what an employee means. You got to be of that United States to be an employee, right? Which you're not. You're not of that United States, which is the District of Columbia. So this definition of person is out the window. All right. Let's go to the next definition of person. All right. The term person shall be construed to mean and include an individual, a trust, estate, partnership, association, company, or corporation. Doesn't include a natural person. And when we talk about an estate, it doesn't include a foreign estate, right? It doesn't say foreign estate, it say estate, right? Any estate. See, United States person, it says any estate, other than a foreign estate, right? So right here, yeah. So this doesn't include you if you're of the Union state or if you're a non-citizen U.S. national. Yeah, this doesn't include you. So safe to say this person is out the window. All right. Let's see. I don't know. We gotta check the regulations. 26 CFR. Nah, actually, nah. I know there's some more definition of persons. Yeah, I just can't find it. All right. Anyway, let's continue. All right. Let's go to the next violation, I guess. Willful failure to collect or pay over taxes, right? See that person, right? So that person don't apply to us because that don't apply, right? Any person, see, that person don't apply to us, right? And lieu of any other penalty provided by law, except under any person, right? See, that person don't apply to us. Withholding on wages, any individual, right? We are not individuals, all right? If any individual, you got to make sure you're not an individual, all right? Don't ever declare yourself as an individual. Now, the thing is, a lot of people like to fill out these W8BENs, right? You see how I say individuals? Do not use this form if you are not an individual. But hey, people fill these out a lot because they think they know they have a foreign status and they know they the beneficial owner of their social security card, right? Right, for the United States, but they still don't understand the law or the definition behind individuals. This is still an agency, right? And this agency, right, still gotta keep records pursuant to 5 USC 52 552A. And the term individual means a citizen of the United States or an alien. Got him. Damn, bruh. They try and get you. Hey, stay vigilant and prosper, you heard? All right. So you got to watch out for this. Don't be calling yourself an individual. That's crazy. All right, let's continue. All right. And right here, this W8BN is only for entities. All right. So you don't want to fill us out either. Just stay away from tax forms and stuff. Yeah, yeah. Don't just leave tax forms alone. Tax forms are for taxpayers, or not only for taxpayers, but you gotta know what you're doing, right? You gotta know what you're doing, and this is about maintaining your sovereignty, right? And maintaining yourself within the union state jurisdiction. You gotta know how to fill out these forms. So I'm just showing, I'm just giving you certain laws that can help you understand you're not a part of this United States. You're not a part of, or the income tax don't apply to you or don't apply to the United States. That's all the evidence I'm giving you. How you form your argument, that is on you. I mean, I can help you form an argument, in the consultation, but I'm just giving you all the evidence, right? All the evidence that's needed. All right, let me continue. Uh, let's go ahead real quick, right? Withholding allowance forms. What I said. All right, let's continue with these violations first. I mean, y'all understand, right? I hope y'all understand. Each of these gonna give the definition of person. You got to be a person or an individual. Let me see. Any person, right? See, you starting to understand? You gotta be that. You gotta be that person or the individual. All right. And we are none of these. So none of these is applicable to you. You cannot get charged for none of these if you properly express yourself as a Union State citizen or a non-citizen United States national, and let them know that they operate out of their jurisdiction. They're in violation of Article 4, Section 3, Clause 1 for trying to form a district state within a jurisdiction of a state, all right? Or trying to join the district state with a union state, which is unconstitutional, all right? We cannot, hold on, you cannot be charged criminally for unconstitutional law, right? That's a Supreme Court case. And I'm gonna show you that Supreme Court case right now. 1 second. All right, see right here? A court cannot acquire jurisdiction to try a person for an act made criminal only by an unconstitutional law. All right? State versus Benzel. All right? So you need to know this, right? And if they keep trying to infringe on your rights, yeah, you can still get them. Hold on, where's that, right? Let me see. I think it's right here. Where's that? Right? The officer may be sued only if he acts in excess of his authority or in violation of the Constitution, for then he ceases to represent the government. So that's the commissioner of the internal revenues. Yeah, write him a letter, get his oath, right? And write him a letter. Let him know, listen, man, I know you care about your oath. Yeah, I know you care. You better care. And whoever else is acting in excess of their authority. Yeah, whether it's a judge trying to prosecute you. Yeah, so I'm gonna let you know if you sign any type of installment agreement, you gotta sign a waiver to tax court as well. So you waive your rights, and they could take you to tax court. Tax court is unconstitutional, right? Now the only time they could take you to tax court if you waive your rights and you sign documents. If you have already did that, you might need to rescind all the signatures on that document or whatever agreement you have with them, and at the same time, send them a interrogatory and ask them to answer these questions, so you can have them questions as proof, whether they answer it or not. you know, in your letter, you can also write, you know, failure to answer these questions is an omission, right? To the question. And you decide whatever that omission is, all right? So there's ways to wiggle yourself out of these situations, right? And like I said, if you need a consultation, you holler at me, all right? All right, so other than that, let's continue. We're gonna proceed. All right, so withholding allowance, right? Form, which is the W force. So this is the law that governs that, right? 26 USC section 3402, right? Income tax collected as source, right? And then you go all the way down to, I believe it's D or was it F? Withholding allowance, right? So then you also go down to allowance certificates, which is a W4, right? So this is the rules governing the change and when it takes into effect, right? And this is the rules governing the change of status. Hold on, I think. All right, this is in the beginning when it takes effect, and this is it governs the change. All right. First certificate furnish, right? Furnish to take place of existing certificate. So if you want to take another, if you want to hand them another certificate, this is exactly what you do. Right? For instance, you understand the law now, right? You understand enough to claim yourself exempt. So now you saying, fuck it. I'm gonna claim exempt and I'm gonna claim like 10 dependents because I know the law and they can't enforce the law on me any old way. Hey, do what you gotta do, man. You better know that law though. I'm gonna let you know. All right, continuing. So yeah, just read this, right? And get some understanding. All right, so let me see. Let me read something for you. Let me read. All right, one certificate takes effect. All right, a withholding allowance certificate furnishes the employer. All right, a withholding allowance certificate furnishes the employer in cases in which no previous such certificate is in effect shall take effect as of the beginning of the first payroll period, ending or the first payment of wages made without regard to a payroll period, on or after the date on which such certificate is so furnished, right? Except as provided in clause 2 and 3, a withholding allowance certificate, which is a W4 or WAB, and whatever you give them, furnished to the employer in cases in which a previous such certificate is in effect shall take effect as of the beginning of the first pay period ending or the first payment of wages made without regard to a pay period on or after the 30th day after the day on which such certificate is so furnished. Mm. Oh, that's because we talking about salaries. That's why, right? This is with salaries, but they say the first payroll period. So say you get paid on Thursday, right? If you furnish a certificate that Wednesday, but you get paid Thursday, it takes effect, and you'll see the difference next Thursday, which is that first pay period after you gave your because I believe payroll starts on Monday, right? So, well, for a lot of companies, it's either Monday or Tuesday. But if you handle your certificate after the payroll, right? Or no, whether you hand it in on the day of the payroll or after the payroll, you still gotta wait to the next payroll, first payroll, which is the next payroll. But if it's for a salary, then this right here applies. All right. At the election of the employer, a certificate described in Clause 1 may be made effective, beginning with any payment of wages made on or after the day on which the certificate is so furnished, and before the 30th day referred to in clause. Change of status which affects next year. All right, we ain't gonna get into all that. Well, hopefully you understand all this right here, dealing with the certificates. But the goal is to get out of all this where you ain't gotta fill out certificates. You let the IRS know that you're a Union State citizen or a non-citizen U.S. national, and they are in violation for operating under the color of law. You need them to tell your employer, to take you out your system or blah blah blah. Right? I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but it doesn't hurt to try. Cause the the IRS commissioner is obligated to uphold the law, right? And if he don't uphold the law, yeah, you can sue him. This is stealing right here. They stealing. This is stealing, and this is a very very lucrative intricate plot on the people. Yeah, so it's fucked up, man. Excuse my French. All right, moving forward. Is there anything else to say? I'm letting you know in order, like, for instance, when you learn stuff like this, you got to learn how to navigate through the court system. So, when you get into stuff like this, you better start learning the federal rules of evidence, federal rules of criminal procedures. I mean, if you're in your state, at least you got to know your state criminal rules of procedures as well as the civil rules of procedures, because when you filing an action against the state, it's a civil action. All right. So you got to know how to proceed civilly against the state or against the federal government. In order to do that, you got to know the procedures, right? And sometimes they make it hard. Now, in New York State, I know how to file a civil action under Article 7, 78, and I know how to do injunctions and stuff under Article 63, all right? Which is going to be under a special proceeding, right? However, for every other states, I'm pretty sure someone out there know how to do special proceedings where, you could file an injunction on your employer to get them to stop. Or you could file an injunction on the state, file an injunction on the social security system, get them to stop taking funds out your check, file an injunction on any the Department of Motor Vehicles. Yeah, just keep filing injunctions and sue them as well. Yeah, why not? Sue them. If you have been injured, why not sue? File an injunction, lay out your damages, the cause of action, the elements, lay out the damages, and the relief you sought to seek. I mean, yeah. So it may sound complicated, but we gotta study. We gotta start somewhere. So I mean, you want to be free, right? You want your money. Everybody's struggling. This is why everybody's struggling, because nobody want to be civil. But in order to be civil, you gotta learn the law. So learn the law, right? I know a lot of Moors like, oh, we don't need a United States codes. Well, if you're in the business of uplifting humanity and not hiding in, the Moorish temples, acting like, that's uplifting the humanity, then yeah, you're going to learn everything that's affecting the people. Because uplifting humanity is getting involved with the people and helping them, you know, helping ease, helping the processes or protecting them from these processes, right? That's causing them grief and injustice, and all that stuff. I'm not sure if I convey that message properly, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Because that's what the Moor is about, right? Uplifting humanity or uplifting fallen humanity. Yeah, you better act like it. A little bit of charity work ain't gonna help it, ain't gonna cut it, right? People think, oh, I'm gonna do this charity, everything gonna be good. Oh, but you still gonna allow these states to do what they do, right? I mean, what they did, they created the 1916 Federal Reserve, right? That was one of the first steps, and I believe that created World War One, right? And then after that, crashed the stock market, took all the funds, right? And then redistributed to certain people. Now, right, that was a economic attack on the people, on a certain people. That was an economic attack, right? So, you know, by you just doing charity, you're not combating the economic attack, right? Charity is nothing. If there's still an economic attack going on, that's what we should be doing, combating this economic attack, right? And the only way we're going to do that is sue these district states for forming within the jurisdiction of a union state, right? And keep putting our foot on their necks in each every way, break the bank, all right? So with that being said, I think I gave enough. And this process is for everybody, not just Moors. Hey, listen, even if you're not a Moor, please, if you how should I say, if you done help more than 20 people, right? Within each, like you done help 20 people in consumer law, you done help like 20 people under the tax laws, you done help like 20 people got a criminal cases through a Article 78 proceeding and not a commercial bond proceeding, right? Not discharging the case. We talking about actually civilly filing papers through an Article 78, I mean, through a civil proceeding, right? And holding these officials accountable. If you done got 20 cases where you held these officials accountable and stopped them in their act through injunctions and all that, then why not make a charter for yourself? It doesn't matter if you're a Moor or not. Yeah, make a charter, you know, get some members under that charter, right? And if there's anybody within your state that's making charters too, yeah, let them make charters, right? And then once y'all get enough people, maybe y'all can merge your charters and become a bigger charter, right? And then y'all still could vote. Y'all still could vote. And this could happen for every state. You know, whoever got the knowledge to make charters, keep making charters. Why not make charters? Get as much people as you can, teach them, right? And then, all the charters within that state, you know, if y'all really about the law and are really about the people, y'all will come to an agreement to merge all the charters, and that charter become one bigger government. And then, yeah, that could be the government right there, right? Because y'all have election power, y'all have voting power, right? And then y'all could just vote someone into the Senate, right? Or y'all could, how should I say, communicate between other states who are doing the same thing with other charters. And we could vote, who we want into the Senate, into the councils. And then from there, yeah, that's how we change the government, or that's how we keep the government honest. And it's easy to kick someone out of government now. It's easy to disqualify a judge. It's easy to disqualify a district attorney, right? Because we all know they operate under the color of law. I'm giving you all the jewels right here, all right? So, yeah, this is the real work of uplifting humanity. And hopefully, y'all up for the call. Anybody who watched these videos. All right, this is the way. All right, I'm gonna conclude here. Right. So stay vigilant and prosper. Love and peace.